Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Conversation. This is Richard Mwanje Exclusive, your only point of call on matters political and governance analysis here in Kenya and across the region. Welcome to The Conversation, and with me to bring it home is none other than Kenya's most sought-after political analyst, the first of his name, Herman Manyora. Today, looking sharp as always. How are you doing, sir?
Good.
You are well?
Well.
We were talking about austerity measures that President Ruto had committed to see them come to life barely a few weeks ago. But then again, people were so angry on the streets, there's a sort of resentment, especially from the Gen Z. Why? Your friend Moses Kuria, among others, have been taken back to government. Some as senior advisors, some given board positions. And the question is, sir, was the president truthful on austerity measures?
Inaitwa ugonjwa ya udosi. Hii ugonjwa inashikanga wadosi.
Can you bring it now to the people's level, waelewe?
It is a disease that inflicts those in power. They become impervious. They become insensitive. They stop knowing what people are saying and thinking. They stop having feelings.
They lose the sense of shame?
Yeah, they lose everything that makes us human beings. How do you tell people austerity measures, we are going to cut down on advisors? And people know there are many, because even the budget line is at 1.2 billion to pay busybodies. So you say we'll reduce it. Hardly 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you are adding more. You know, it's an insult.
And once you're going for a fired CS, people are considered political rejects. Don't you think there's a bigger issue in that?
First of all, it's an insult. Because you are adding instead of subtracting the so-called advisors, and people are not seeing the advice they are giving. Then people ask you to fire all your cabinet secretaries. You brought back half. People are so annoyed. As if that was not enough, you are now bringing the remaining back. You know, it can't get worse than that, surely. It can't.
It can't?
It can't get worse. And let me tell you this, and I always say, these things I say for free. Because at my age now, my work is just to advise. You know, in some countries, people of my age are given very senior jobs. Because we are at a level, at an age in life where you can't lie, you say the truth. You are at an age in life where you have seen all. There's nothing you are yet to see. You don't fear anything. You don't fear anybody. You are also at a point where you can serve diligently. Because you don't want money. If you give me a job, I cannot be going there for money. You see, these young boys, you make them ministers, and they want to show the watch. Akipiga picture in a car. What I used to see in the 1970s. And the late Professor Al-Mazrui says, an African must put on a watch. And akipiga picture mpaka akisha iko hivi. This is 70s and 60s. But then Al-Mazrui, the late Al-Mazrui says, but then the same African doesn't keep time.
Splash of opulence in the misplaced way.
So I can tell them for a fact that what they are doing is not good. I can also point out Ruto and the rest of the people. President Ruto, I must be respectful. That you will enjoy your presidency if you did the right thing. It is that simple. Just do the right thing. Don't offend the people. Don't annoy people. Then you spend so much energy trying to get them back. You see the president now moving again all over the country, trying to get people because he had lost them. Look at the energy he's spending. Look at the amount of money.
Launching projects daily.
Yeah. Look at the amount of money. How much per DM, Impress, do people take to attend presidential functions? If the president is in your area, how much money is spent in? And then everything else is abandoned. There's no work going on. Why is the president doing that? To buy back his people, to get back the people whom he lost. Why do you want to lose them even more? So that again you spend enormous amounts of money and time and resources to win an election which was yours for the winning.
But you've gone on record on my show saying the president is an independent thinker and is one who's more become a political expert, sort of professor after the late President Moi.
Yes.
How then does he get to a level whereby he's blinded by these open facts that people around him are there for their own interests and not for the interest of his legacy?
They are people, when the cup is full, they still pour in tea, and then the tea has to, ndio wajue imejaa. So Ruto kikombe imejaa na anamwaga chai mwagike chini, ndio wajue imemwaga. I've always said if I was Ruto, I'll just go on holiday every 3 months. I take 2 weeks leave. There's nothing. Ruto came in so popular, so comfortable, apart from the few gymnastics that people played here and there. And then the other side, which didn't win or didn't get power, they are so vulnerable and so weak. Ruto invaded them, and Ruto just had a free ride. I don't know where all this nonsense came from. I can't understand. He was just going to walk back to State House. In fact, Ruto ought to be taking leave every 3 months.
Let's circle back a bit.
Enda to Switzerland now. Ona kama ni nini, enda wapi, 1 week. Because everything is moving. Make me president and you see how many times I'll be on leave, on holiday. 3-4 times on holiday. Really holiday. You see American presidents. Saa hii unasikia nani ameenda kwa beaches, Biden. Enjoying the sun and the sand. Yes, these hours cannot. Hata akienda Mombasa ni kazi. Jomo Kenyatta. Kwa ziara yenye shughuli mingi. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta on a working holiday at the coast. No.
Is it often informed by the fear that someone can go to State House and take over?
That's part of it. But you know, you are always scheming. You are always scheming. You are always thinking somebody wants your power. You are always trying to get people. You are always trying to steal MPs from another party.
Imaginary
you spend the whole night in Mombasa instead of enjoying. You are busy and bringing people problems. Nini, you are trying to give, to dish out things to them. Basically, you are buying popularity and support instead of enjoying your holiday. Ambia Mama Rachel, tunaenda kuenjoy the suns. Why should other people come and enjoy South Coast? White suns. Huko, Chin South Coast. Nice. Ambia Mama twende.
So by doing the
right... Bring your favorite grandchildren. Let's go to the coast and enjoy 2 weeks uninterrupted. Hakuna mtu anakuja kuona president. Unakuja kuambia mtu I'm enjoying my holiday. Na kazi nyumbani Nairobi inaendelea. Because you have competent ministers who owe their allegiance first to the people of Kenya, only second to you. Intelligent men and women whom you cannot buy.
You won't be out of the country every other time, foreign trips, bilateral trade agreements.
What for? Doing what? And my ambassadors will be working for me. You go out and you tell me what you are going to do.
So you'll harness the potential of your diplomats?
Only diplomats. And you cannot be a diplomat unless you are capable.
Not political rejects?
No, I will not. I'll get career diplomats. You cannot be an ambassador just from the bush unless there's something special you are going to bring. This will be a different country. And I will enjoy my presidency. These guys don't enjoy.
Let's circle back a bit. You're talking about how President Ruto is now struggling to regain the charm that was domiciled in many of his supporters in 2022. But then again, in the run-up to the 2022 general elections, he rode to power on the back of these hustlers, those at the bottom of the social strata. And right now, we are seeing him now making a pact with Raila Odinga, much to the anger of the Gen Z. More taxation, now Mudavadi talking about the need for them to bring back progressive parts of the Finance Bill 2024. And it begs the question, should this trend go on? The anger building up and the rage within the Gen Z and other people in the opposition and other quarters. Would you then say that even now, Ruto is already living on borrowed political oxygen?
You know, if elections were held today, Ruto will lose very badly. Badly.
He would?
Oh, badly. He knows it. He's not a fool. The beauty with Ruto is not a fool. He knows. He knows if elections are called today, he will not get more than 40%. He will not get. He will lose it badly. To almost anybody. So long as just one Kenyan against him will lose. Between now and 2027, a lot can happen. One of those things he can change. Because he's a master politician, he can play the politics so well. Come 2027, just walk over for him. Secondly, he can actually work for the people of Kenya between now and 2027. Not politics, actual work. And people can forgive him for the past mistakes and work with him to 2027 on the way to 2032. But also there can be dynamics beyond anybody's control, which can either favor him or remove him from power. For example, this Gen Z thing. If this momentum is maintained and if it increases, if the pressures, you say, if you inject the pressure and it increases, then somebody else will benefit from that and the Ruto will go home. Yeah, it's simple. But if I were Ruto, nobody would beat me. I will not even campaign. Why would I campaign?
We'll just do the right things?
Yeah, do the right things. Simple. Simple. Why do I owe these ministers? They just go home. I tell them you can do business. I will facilitate you doing business. I know you love money. Tokeni hapa. Then mfanya biashara nitawasaidia.
And how would you advise
I not give any of these people. Not my ministers. I would not keep any of these people. Not even one of them.
And for your deputy president...
And you see, immediately you do that, you become the darling of the people of Kenya. And you say the courts have ruled against these things, even the finance bill of 2023 and so on. What are these useless things that are making us fight each other as a people? Housing, out. We shall find another better way of doing housing. This out, this out, this in, this out, this in. Lucky for Ruto, the things people are asking, they are very simple things. There are other people who are given demands which you can't meet. Very difficult demands. But here, these are very simple things. Just taking these useless ministers and sending them home. What do you lose by sending them home?
And by doing so, he can replenish the empty coffers that he said he inherited?
Which is not, you don't inherit money. Governments don't keep money unless they are like Chinese government, which was saving. We collect and use. So what did they expect to find? Why are they not keeping? How much have they kept so far?
Lastly, sir, in a bid to alleviate the suffering of many Kenyans, in 2010, August, we promulgated the new constitution, and just barely a few days ago, we marked 14 years since the promulgation of the 2010 constitution. And from your end, do you think this fight has helped us deepen accountability and also turn around how we play our politics and democracy, especially at a time whereby democracy has been compromised by the opposition joining government?
Well, we have what some people wish to call a progressive constitution. I just see it as another constitution. It's not very progressive. But it has done one or two things. But you see, two things defined our constitution. One, our history. We were running away from some past. And we allowed that running away from the past to find itself in the Constitution.
Fear informed us.
Yes. Correct, you are right. Secondly, we borrowed foolishly from other jurisdictions. Copy-paste. South Africa, America, and so on and so forth. Thirdly, and very importantly, we somehow stupidly imagined we will get good people to implement this constitution. If you look at the Kenyan constitution, you can see the role of the goodwill of the president there. We imagined, but I think there's a way in which people imagine Raila will be the president, and therefore he will be happy to implement the constitution. I wish they had prepared the constitution knowing the worst person can become president in 2013. Actually, it was supposed to be 2012. If I had been part of them, I told them, let's make this constitution in such a way that even if the worst among us becomes president, itamfunga, hata akijaribu nini. And that calls for a lot of thinking which Kenyans are not known for.
So if you're invited to be part of the BBI team, you could have brought such reforms there?
Yeah. If I'm part of our team to re-engineer our constitution, I'll deal with things that can change this country and make sure they are in the constitution. I'll bring a structure of government that works, where we don't have to depend on an individual. Where we don't create institutions thinking you have the Supreme Court, you have Parliament, forgetting the men and women you'll put there will make these institutions as useless as they can ever be. You have to think, what if we create a Supreme Court? And the typical Kenyan judges are the ones who got that Supreme Court. What have you achieved? What if you create Parliament and give it a lot of power? Because Parliament, of the three arms, is the most powerful institution arm.
Sure.
But if, as is the case now, the usual rascals are the MPs there. So these people didn't think. So in the making of a constitution, if that moment comes and I'm around and I'm part of it, we have to crack that issue. Is it enough to create an institution? How do we ensure that an institution will be effective? How do we ensure there are men and women of integrity and ability to be in those institutions. And if we get one who slips through, flukes through, and enters that institution, like this parliament or the Supreme
Senate,
Court or whatever other institution, or a lot of these nonsensical commissions, if we remain with a few, not as many as they are, that make no sense. Supposing we have filtered and we have the best, but one or two have, how do we deal with them? There must be inbuilt mechanisms of building. Peer, for example. You know?
Sure.
I would imagine an institution where those in that institutions self-check through peer, through a peer mechanism. You see? I would imagine an institution where certain people of certain caliber, coming from certain backgrounds, are made part and parcel of those institutions. You could bite your bullet, for example. You can bite the bullet, for example. You could swallow your pride and say, if we have a Supreme Court of 9 people, would it be so injurious if we got foreigners to be part of that 9, so that we have at least 3 judges from the Commonwealth, men and women of impeccable credentials, from Canada, for example, from the UK, from India. We are not saying we are useless, but we are admitting that we are wanting in some respect.
You want to loan expatriates.
So you have a 15 bench of the Supreme Court, or 9. And if it is 9, a third are expatriate. You know, for a time, you put a sunset clause. So this is, I'm just thinking. I'm not saying it will be like that. I'm just thinking. Somebody else will say, no, that is too much, no? How about we did it this way? How about we constituted the bench in this manner? How about we checked the bench in this manner? You know, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is there will be some thinking going into the creation of those institutions, both in terms of the institution itself, the number of people in that institution, and the caliber of the people that go into. So that we don't leave Parliament just an institution for anybody. And the beginning point, for example, will be, we'll abolish the Parliamentary Service Commission. We cannot allow members of Parliament to play around with the public money the way they want. So in that new constitution, there will be no problem. Nobody sets their own salary. Where in the world? You abolish Parliamentary Service Commission, and you say we are only having 200,000 shillings, for example. If it's for 200,000 shillings salary, you know all these crooks will not go there. There are no allowances, nothing, just 200,000. But then we commit ourselves as a country to build a village, an estate, modern estate with about 500 houses, with schools and everything. If you are an MP, if you want to go and stay there, for the time you are an MP, your children will go to school.
Incentives and all that.
But there are no allowances for you, there's nothing. Mshahara 1,100 ama 1,200.
Na CDF hakuna.
That will mean, hakuna CDF. That means only a person who has something to offer will go to Parliament.
No primitive accumulation of wealth.
No. There's no money in the Parliament. So how would you go there unless you have something? You better do something else. If you love money, don't go to Parliament. If you want to help your country, Parliament will be made up of men and women who will spend all their time in Parliament debating, making laws, creating policies for the country, crafting bills, debating. You get? Not people dishing stupid checks across the country, CDF, no. They are there.
So should what you envision come to life, are we likely to see less cases whereby there are legal gaps, case in point, the impeachment of Kawira Mwangaza, confusion all over the place?
You see, I don't mention Mwangaza. One, I don't like what Meru MCS were doing. I don't like people who seem to be unfair on people because they are weak gender, because they are women. I didn't see anything they had against her. Honestly, I wish they had something against her. I wish MCS can impeach these thieving governors who are stealing our billions of shillings. Put them, all of them, bring them for impeachment. Let Senate try them and send them home, and then we send them to jail. But they are after a woman who has done almost nothing. But the main point I want to make is about the judiciary.
Which is,
I find it's difficult to understand what how the judiciary thinks. When you impeach a president and he's tried and found guilty, he ceases to hold office immediately. In fact, within hours, not days, the deputy president should be sworn in. When a governor is impeached, I saw this with the Embu governor,
Martin Wambora.
Mm-hmm. I said, what? I saw this in Garissa or Wajir. Mm-hmm. Look at the circus that was in Wajir. The judiciary must be called to order. They must be called to order. Once an impeachment process has gone through and Senate has tried, much as I like Mwangaza, Kawira Mwangaza, not as a person, I'm just...
Sure, yeah.
I made my point. Once Senate pronounces itself, she ceases to be governor.
Bendera inatolewa kwa gari.
Immediately. In fact, the following day, because these things go up to night, the following day, the following morning, the deputy governor must be sworn in. And the courts have no right to interfere whatsoever, because this is a political process. An impeachment is a political process. It's not a legal process. They just borrow from the processes from the legal world. But it's a political process. They can just say to your face. Impeachment is not about anything. The courts should... It's very dangerous. Look, a governor was sworn in. And then they brought another governor again. The one who had been impeached. The judiciary in this country never ceases to amaze me. If Mother Koome is listening, if somebody ever sees this clip, take it to Mother Koome. Tell Justice Mother Koome. There is no way an impeached president can come back through a judicial system. No. You'll create chaos for the country. Just as you will create chaos for it's a political process. It is not a legal process. It is a political process. An impeachment is a political process. That's why when these things go to Senate in America, the impeachment for trial, it just boils down to the numbers. It's never the issues, just the numbers. Indeed. You have the numbers, you are Trump. You have the numbers, you are let off the hook. It's as simple as that. Once Senate has pronounced itself, I don't know the judiciary. Please, I beg them. I beg judiciary. We need you. But don't do this to this country. You can create chaos. Because I can imagine a situation where the president has been impeached, tried by Senate and found guilty to vacate office, and then the judiciary steps in. You can imagine the chaos. You can imagine, and they are setting precedent. I want the judiciary, I'm inviting the judiciary to imagine the chaos they can create in a country if an impeached president is tried and found guilty by Senate. And then the following day, instead of swearing the deputy president, or he has even been sworn in, the judiciary comes in again and says no. You can imagine the chaos you can cause, the confusion. You can even lead the country into bloodshed and civil war.
To sort out this confusion.
I have told the judiciary, keep off politics. Keep off political processes. Impeachment is a political process. Where the legal thing is provided clearly. The rights of an impeached president, clearly spelled in the Constitution. The rights of a governor to fair process is completely provided for in the process. But once all that has been exhausted and Senate has pronounced itself, the judiciary should not come in. They will create chaos. One day, one time, those listening to me will remember my words. The judiciary can throw the country into such a chaos they will not even imagine. A president is impeached, tried by Senate, the deputy president is sworn in, and the judiciary, somebody rushes to the judiciary reverses.
And now to avoid us running this risk, would you then implore seasoned legal experts who are still in town, talk of Amos Wako, to at least advise Martha Koome?
They should advise her. The judiciary should be told. They are causing chaos. They can cause chaos in the country. Because courts go by precedent. The argument will be advanced if a president is... The Wambora case will be cited. The Kawira Mwangaza case will be cited.
We are setting the bad precedent.
And the Kenyans will be celebrating some corner of the world. Their son or daughter has become a president. And the judiciary is announcing itself. The military has already saluted the commander-in-chief.
The ADC ameingia nyuma.
And some judges, some benches giving some other... You know, I am advising the judiciary of this country.
Judge atatoka courtroom anashikwa na watu hapo chini.
To be careful. They should be very careful. They can plunge the country into chaos.
True, very well. There you have it. So much nuggets of wisdom from the seasoned public scholar and political analyst Herman Manyora, discussing an array of issues from the political scene, what to do with the judiciary, and also the Gen Z movement and reforms that we should bring to the country, not just politically, but also in our economic space. Until we meet next time on this particular show, do enjoy the rest of your viewing, but keep this conversation going beyond here. I'm at Mwenje Richard on X and on TikTok. Get Professor Herman Manyora at H Manyora on TikTok and on X as well. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.